Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day today. I'm in my garage because it's dark outside. Wife and kids went to get haircuts and that kind of thing, so I had a minute. And I want to do something I've always wanted to do and just never took the time to do it. So we're going to do it tonight. I'm going to show you how I get this set up and started. And then as we go through the year, and I'm filming videos out in the yard, but we're trying to take a peek at this, each video to kind of see the progress of what it's doing. So you know yourself, the root system of the turf means everything, right? And I've always had a curiosity in me to see if I could create the absolute perfect growing condition. And if I could create that perfect growing condition and give the turf everything it needed and baby it and love on it and coax it to do the absolute best it could do, how deep will roots actually go? So what I did is I went to Lowe's and I bought me two 2x4 sheets of 1/4 inch plexiglass. Bought some, these are 1/8 inch by 1.5 by 8 foot long. And of course I can cut them in half to make 4 foot lengths. I got 2 of these. Got some Gorilla Glue, my Sawzall. I got some little bolts and stuff. I'm gonna show you how I put all this thing together. This right here was one sheet of plexiglass. You can see there, it's one sheet. When you buy it, it comes like this. And then I took it to my local glass shop, and they actually cut it in half for me. So I didn't want to take a chance. I have no idea how to cut plexiglass. So there you go. That's going to be the sides of it. And of course I'm going to make a box like this, like a long rectangle box, and then we'll fill it up with dirt. We're going to fill it with topsoil, probably mix a little bit of peat moss in it, a little touch of compost in it. Again, I'm not at all trying to replicate what happens in the yard. Okay, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to create the absolute ideal perfect conditions so that the roots can just go as deep as they want to go. And I just want to see if we can get the roots to go 4 foot deep. That's honestly what I want to see. I've just always been curious about that, and so we're going to do it. So let me get set up here, and then I'll show you how I'm going to build this. First thing I got to do is cut this aluminum. I'm going to do it off camera. I'm just using a Sawzall. I'll cut it and then we'll get all this set up. Alright, so I am going to glue this together, but I'm also going to put a little bolt and nut on it just for added stability. We're going to pre-drill the holes in the aluminum so I don't have to try and do that after I get the plexiglass mounted. Now, one thing I know that I'm going to do is I'm going to start this and grow it in from seed. I'm going to use the GCI Turf Type Tall Fescue, obviously. I originally was going to build the frame out of wood, okay? Talking with my buddy Mike, he said, why don't you build the frame out of aluminum? That way it'll last longer and I can use it again. But next year, we'll clean it out, put fresh dirt in, start a new experiment with a different turf type, and that way I'll have it kind of videoed, documented. I don't know what you call this stuff. Just I'll have it videoed, the whole process, and maybe folks will find it interesting. Flush it up. Make sure it's flushed this way. Oh man, that's really cool right there. little pressure. Alright, so I'm going to gently pick this up and move it out of the way and do another one. I tell you what, we'll name it the root box. What do you think about that one? Good old GCI root box. Alright, I'm going to make the other two off camera, and might, while it's taken apart, may I go in and drill the hole in the plexiglass and go on and put the bolts in at least one side of it. So let me get these other ones set up. I'll be right back. Alright, so I've never worked with plexiglass like this before, so I hope I don't crack it when I drill it. I have read that, I watched a few videos on this, and you're supposed to drill it kind of slow. So I've got it ledged up with 2x4s, kind of anchor it to hold everything steady. So here goes nothing. Let's see what happens here. Alright, that one worked good. I think that one worked good. No cracks yet. Alright, 3 for 3. I think the trick to that is take your time and go slow, and it seems to do pretty good. Alright, so my setup here is just a little small Phillips head bolt right there with a nut on the end, lock washer and a flat washer. Still gonna be super careful with this because I just glued it a little bit ago. And you can see how I've got that right there. Let's see if I can get that to clear up real good. You can see I've got just a flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. And it is supposed to rain tomorrow, so no chance of me driving my car. So I got all 4 of them up under there. So I'm gonna clean up, go inside and chill for a minute. My wife and kids just got home, and we'll come back tomorrow and I'll finish building these. I plan to put it on like a little dolly system so that I can roll it around in the driveway. I gotta figure out some type of an anchor system, because you know it's gonna be 4 foot tall and definitely don't want that to turn over. Again, this is gonna be my turf type tall fescue, and it's gonna be planted in nothing but topsoil, peat moss, compost mixture. Like I said earlier, we're not trying to replicate anything in the yard. We're trying to maximize the potential, give the turf roots every advantage it can, just to see how long they'll grow, to see if we can get 4 foot long turf type tall fescue roots. So in the meantime, comment below, tell me if you think they will drive 4 foot deep over the course of one growing season from seed, and if so, tell me how soon or how fast that might happen. So you might guess, 2 months from now, 3 months, 5 months, whatever. But I'm curious to read the answers to see how quick you think it will go 4 foot deep, the roots will go 4 foot deep, if they will even drive that deep. So let me know in the comments below. All right, so here we are the next day, and we're gonna complete the box, and then I'll tell you about something I ordered to make this work a little bit better. But I'm gonna pull this off right here. Trying to do this by yourself is a little bit difficult, but we will get through it. Don't you just love it when you remember about a tool that you have? I totally, completely forgot about these, and I just so happen to remember I have them. So these will work great with this particular part, because I need to be very careful. This was just glued. I don't want it falling apart. So I'm gonna come in here and clamp the ends of it. That should satisfy that. Oh yeah. Now I ain't gonna drill my holes. Just using an adjustable wrench and a little screwdriver. Phillips head to tighten these down. Again, I'm not trying to put the smack down on it. I don't want to crack nothing. Just tight enough to hold it snug. Alright, that one's done. Let me do the other one, and then we'll piece them together to make our box. Alright, so this is kind of what it's going to look like, finished product. And I've got it not glued, but what do you call these things? Gripped together, whatever they're called. Now I'm just going to make sure it's square. That's 1 foot on the dot. And 1 foot on the dot. I mean, it's absolutely spot on. That worked out just right. Bingo. So I've been sitting here trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. I think what I'm going to do is run a bead of glue along this edge and put it together, and then I'm going to lay it down. That way the weight of this will be pushing against that. Then I can clamp it with it laying on its side, and then drill my holes right quick, and then I'll repeat the process on this side over here. Alright. Lord, please don't break. Woohoo! Whoop, there it is, right? That is going to be really cool. I'm going to leave the rest of this outside plastic on it until I get that other piece tomorrow. It's supposed to be here tomorrow, so we'll get back at it then. So I ended up trying an old school trick by pre-soaking the grass seed, and I actually pre-soaked it in some green pop. So then it was to the dirt mixture, and I basically took some sand and compost and topsoil, kind of a third of each. Again, I'm trying to create the absolute perfect dirt. I'm not trying to create bad growing conditions or poor growing conditions and see how the roots will do. I want the optimum growing conditions, and I want to give it every single advantage that I can give it. You know, if I wanted to grow turf in rock hard clay, I wouldn't have to go far. I'd just walk out into my yard and look at that. And I've got 12-inch roots in my yard, so I know for a fact they'll go 12 inches in some pretty rough conditions. But again, we're going to see how this does in the optimum growing conditions. So once I got my dirt mix together, I began to fill up my GCI root box, and it turned out really well. I got this little rolling shopping cart thingamajiggy off Amazon so that I can make the root box mobile. My initial thoughts were that I would roll it from the side of the house around to the front of the house so that it could get sun, because the side of the house where we park our cars at, once it gets around noon time or so, all that is shaded. But there's this little thing called life, and a work schedule, and church schedule, and family schedule, and all kind of schedules. You know what I'm saying? So things just didn't go like I wanted them to go. I could not stay on top of the watering. I could not keep the seed moist. I just couldn't. I didn't have the time to do it. So attempt number 1 was a big fat failure. So then I decided, why don't I bring the root box out here, set it against the wall. This way I accomplish a few things. One, I get full sun all day long. The only time this area does not get full sun is when the sun goes down in the afternoon behind those trees over there. So it's literally all day full sun. Number two, I need to set up some type of an automatic watering system. I could not do that up there by the house where it was at originally. So I trucked it out here, come across the bluegrass with it. The wheels came in really handy because it rolled right across this shortcut turf. Had a little bit of a trouble getting it right here. I had to kind of muscle it in right here, but I got it up. Now these right here are some little micro misters. I picked up a pack of 20, I think, on Amazon for like $3 or $4 or something, $5. It was relatively inexpensive. I went to Lowe's and bought these stakes and the black tubing. That's just like micro mist tubing that you would put like in a flower bed or something like that. You can find that at Lowe's on the irrigation aisle. Not sure what number aisle it is, but it's on at the very end with the irrigation where they have the irrigation heads and things like that. And I also picked up a timer, just a standard little Orbit timer that you hook straight up to a water hose. Now on my timer over here, one thing I did have to do is I did have to get a little pressure regulator. You can see it right there. And of course you can get that at Lowe's as well. My well's got so much pressure on it, I had to put a regulator on it so it doesn't blow those little spray nozzles off. And then I run it over here, plumbed it all up, and got a really nice little micro mist type system. I'm running this 1 minute every hour. So it runs 24 times a day, and it runs 1 minute every time it runs. That should be a gracious plenty to keep the seed moist, right? Now this other contraption you see here is kind of the same concept, but it's a much heavier droplet of mist. And the problem I kept running into was when it would, water the grass seed, it was really moving the dirt around and making things float to the back of the box, and that's no good. I need the seed to stay put where it's at. Probably once the grass seed germinates and gets up and going, then I'll switch back over to this one, and that way I can get some good heavy deep waterings out of that instead of a little micro mist watering. So let's turn this on. You can see how this thing works. It's really neat. You can see it's a super fine mist right there. And with that being such a fine mist and only running for 1 minute, it's just enough to get the seed good and moist without moving dirt around. And if you notice, I did put some plastic up against my building right here so no moisture would get to it. And I think this is going to be really cool. Again, that box is 48 inches deep, so will GCI Turf Type Tall Fescue roots go 48 inches deep in optimum perfect conditions? I guess time will tell, right? Oh, and something else I did do, I did put down some protein 15-22-10 starter fertilizer. So we're going to give it every single last opportunity to do its best that it can do. So be sure and subscribe to the channel, all that kind of thing, and we will follow this throughout the rest of the year and into the fall. We might possibly set up a few more boxes out here and make some other, experimental type things like this with different grass types like rye, maybe some blue heat, bluegrass, and we'll just kind of, play it by ear and see what happens. But, I'm all about this stuff. I love doing this stuff. I love watching these plants grow, and we'll show this every time I make a video out here in the yard or something, and I think about it, we'll run out here and do an update on it. As always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. I'll check you later.